I have a long and serious story time. This story time speaks about deadbeat dads, but it also speaks about what happens if a woman is pregnant without her consent, as in she was possibly raped. How does she connect or not connect with that child? And what would that child's upbringing be like? Let's talk about this story time. This woman says, "Hello, I have a story I would like to share with you in your community. I was raised by a single mother who lied to me about who my father was. I believe one man was my father until I was 25 when some random man called me. That man introduced himself as Randall and talked to me while I took a walk. The whole conversation was about him, how my mother named me after him because he looked like a famous football player, and now I have that man's name. He spouted off about how much he hated my mother and how she took his daughter. I stopped talking when he told me I was his oldest child. The man I knew to be my father had a son, my older brother. I was so confused and privated my Facebook when he told me he was having friends go to my page and screenshot my pictures so he could show them to his friends. The next day, my mother told me that R called me. All right, so I've already called his name Randall. All right, so Randall called me and that there was a possibility that I was a product of gRape. But she didn't think so. She also told me she didn't want me, was going to abort me, but the man that I thought was my father, Ron, didn't want her to do it because I could have been his. She was going to give me up for adoption and admitted that it's the reason my grandfather hated me. I decided at that moment the whole thing was entirely too complicated, like an episode of Maury, and I wanted nothing to do with this. I had enough dysfunction for a lifetime. That was 10 years ago. I am 35 now. And since then, he has cussed out a person he thought was my mother on my phone and refused to take a paternity test unless I talked to him to hear his side. There was also this weak ass story about how he came to the hospital and looked into the nursery from outside the hospital as he stood in the rain. I would like to break all the things down that are wrong with this. This is already long. I unfortunately did ancestry DNA and found out 2 years after that, after I took the test, that Randall was my sperm donor. I was on a vacation and it ruined the whole trip. There is a current portion, but I have spammed your inbox. Sorry, I'm a YouTube subscriber. I wanted to share this because this is a mess. So I tell her story hasn't been long so far. So if she wants to continue, she can. And so here it is. She says, 2 years ago, I was feeling sentimental and decided to attempt to talk to one of the additional siblings I now have. I really wanted to find out how many siblings I actually have. I am the middle of 3 children from my mother, but with this additional side, I could now be one of God knows how many. I was able to find one of Randall's sons easily and introduce myself when he responded. The conversation was quite pleasant. He is younger than me by 6 years. He found out about me when he was 19. So around the same time, his father contacted me and he had 3 brothers. I was able to confirm that only one was related to me was others. I was able to confirm that only one was related to me. The others were Randall's wife's sons. My brother told me that his dad would want us all to be like real siblings so they could be my brothers too. I shut that down immediately and tried to make my intentions very clear. I wanted to get to know my brother, not his father, and certainly not any random folks that I'm not in any way related to. I didn't think it was fair that I never got to meet him or form any memories with him because his father was a deadbeat. He seemed to understand and dropped it. He even let me know he was planning a wedding. I will always light up at the word wedding because I am a wedding planner. I love what I do, and helping people get married is a passion of mine. So the conversation became very easy. After I got an Instagram follow request, I kept all of my social media private because of Randall. It was a man, and she gives this man's Instagram handle. All right, so this is where she starts to show some of the inboxes from Instagram. So she's like, "I'm sorry, who are you?" And he's like, "Your brother." And then she's like, "Not to step on my soapbox, but put your name on your Instagram. How am I supposed to know who a black gorilla is? And she says, this is a K name or a B name, right? And he's like, this is B. Oh, hello, B. He's like, how are you doing? I am well, drinking coffee. How are you? I'm great, can't complain, but I'm just reaching out because I would love to get to know you and create a relationship with you one day. And she's like, yeah, sure. I thought K Word said that you lived in ATL. I used to, but I stay in Charlotte now. And so you see that they're just doing the typical, just trying to break the ice or whatever. And she said that this was the only interaction I had with this brother. If we can blur his name and Insta handle, I'd rather he not be in this. She says, I did keep talking to the 29-year-old brother as conversations came easily. He came to Austin and we met for the first time. I took him for lunch and paid because I think the older sibling should always pay. It was so pleasant until he brought up his father at the end. He said that his father was really sad and loved me and just wanted to get to know me. No, she said no, plainly. So it was left there. But recently something has been weighing on me. I am no contact with my mother and refuse to be near her, which was all good until my youngest brother, the 26-year-old, got married and had a baby this summer. This is a sibling I helped raise beginning at 9 years old, and I, as an adult, can't go to his state and visit him or the baby because my mom lives close by, and I can't be guaranteed a peaceful visit. I realized it is the same with this 29-year-old brother. I will never be able to visit him because I want nothing to do with his father and can't be guaranteed a peaceful visit. I also know that Randall walks around garnering support and sympathy from his family because he lost a daughter. We lived in the same city until I was 11. He never paid a penny of child support. He never subpoenaed my mother for a paternity test. The only reason I know about this pathetic behavior is that my aunt told me one of his family members approached her. I would never be able to visit peacefully. I grew up with an abusive mother. I don't like conflict. I need to know I will be safe before I walk into an uncontrolled situation. Anywho, I made a series of mistakes at this point. Okay, now I just want to stop here and show and just talk about the fact that forcing people to have babies, gRape does happen. And some people, some women, some girls are coerced into keeping babies. That's what happens. Some of these people are abusive because they never wanted to be pregnant. They didn't want to have that baby. So stop trying to force babies on people, especially if it was a product of gRape. Okay, so here's where she's talking about her series of mistakes. I asked the 29-year-old for his father's number. This was a mistake because I should have never involved the brother. It was inconsiderate of me. I think this also gave them hope that I was coming around. I was not. This is the message I sent to Randall. Okay, so she is sending a very long message to Randall. I'll try to get through some of this, but there's probably going to be a part 2. Hello, Randall. I've been considering things a lot lately, especially since I've been on a healing journey. I cut off mother because she's not dumb and knows what she has done my whole life. As for you, I can't really say I cut you off because you're not a parent to me. You inseminated mother. Then you tried to see me once after I was born and popped up out of the blue when I was 25. I think it's awful that you chose to do nothing to fight for your child. I think you were lazy and entitled, thinking that I would find you. I didn't know you existed until I was 25. I thought the man you allowed to raise me was my father. I called a man who unalived himself dad. I suffered at the abusive, neglectful hands of a woman you impregnated while you knew I existed and just started another family. You didn't take a paternity test. You didn't try to get visitation, and you certainly didn't support me. I am more responsible for my pets than you were for a human you created. You will not take any responsibility, and everything will continue to be my mother's fault for taking away your daughter. You don't have a daughter. You don't have a female child that you raised, cared for, nurtured, supported, or loved. You didn't even try. I had to find out I was biologically related to you from ancestry DNA. Okay, I'm going to let y'all finish reading this. She lays into Randall, and there will be a part 2, probably tomorrow. Y'all, I will pick this up right here.